All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Millennials Are Killing. The week, well, that's not weekly. We've had a little bit of a break, just
It's
because,
not weekly by any
by
means.
any means. But
It's more
another,
of whenever we feel like it.
whenever we feel like it, life happens. But here we are with another installment of Millennials Are Killing, and this week we're killing the internet.
Well, we're not, but some people in our government, the FCC, are
Yeah,
going to do that for us.
yeah, we didn't really have to do very much work, did we? Yeah, it kind of just it didn't go the way I think a lot of people wanted, given what Reddit has been saying.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I guess we should probably consider when we talk about this. Is we both frequent websites that are going to be biased towards preserving net neutrality. But at the same time, it seems to me at least like a pretty bipartisan issue, and I don't really understand where the division came about. I guess it's because it was regulation for one, and two, it was instituted in 2015 under the Obama administration, and so any legislation that came out during that time is automatically dumb and evil.
According to this administration standards, yes.
According to yes, yes.
It's all just evil. Pitchforks and burning hellscapes of liberals who just ruin everything. And I know the one point that I really wanted to make before we delve into this whole situation more, and I'll go ahead and say it. I am of the opinion that there should be net neutrality and that we should preserve it. I think that given how far the internet has come, let alone just this decade, it's incredible how such a service and such an entity went from being just this idea and growing into something that is basically a human right. The access to information, education, and everything that stems from the internet. And so I think where I'm kind of viewing this as, well, something that just kind of confuses me is basically net neutrality was passed in 2015 under the Obama administration to even the playing field for smaller businesses, smaller organizations, and individuals to have the ability to allow everybody access to their website without it being slowed down or blocked or anything like that. Which is really
Right.
what the whole point of internet should be, is that it should be able for you to get all the information you want to access, that you choose to access, say for anything that's illegal, like the dark web, like regulate that, but not what we necessarily we're talking about. But I
Yeah,
think
we're only talking about the internet that's on the surface level that you can get through in a web browser.
exactly. But what I think stood out to me the most is if these rules were for helping the little man and for creating a sense of equality for the internet for everybody, it is inherently a Republican and a conservative value to support and to kind of benefit small businesses. It's why we have Small Business Saturday. It's why we have all this sorts of things where we have legislators get up in Congress and say, "Hey, we gotta help the small business guys, small America." These things like that, and for these people to have that rhetoric and that mentality, and to completely ignore the cries of millions of people and these small businesses, these small entities, it's just very hypocritical for a lot of people who are against it to stand for those small businesses, yet still take money and benefit from these large corporations having all the say. And I think that is the main kind of the main sort of viewpoint that I have, that I've been kind of trying to analyze to see, why are people taking these stances? And I think that I'm sure you have an opinion on that, and you
Right.
say stuff about that.
So I've contacted my congressman, and they both sent me these prepared statements that because I'm sure they're getting flooded with emails and faxes about the issue, and both of them kind of said the same thing, and their main points were that one, net neutrality is a regulation, and so they said that by removing this regulation, the internet can return to the free place that it used to be. By removing the regulation, it allows for more innovation and creativity. And that's something that I don't really understand at all because, from my understanding, the kind of worst case scenario of net neutrality is that different internet entities are packaged into services, and then you have to pay for each package, kind of like how cable television works. So theoretically, you would have to pay a certain amount of money per month to access social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, a certain amount of money to access video media like YouTube and Netflix, and you may have to pay a little bit more because those video files have a larger bandwidth. And so the missing entities from these packages are the smaller websites. You're not going to include, a website that is just starting up in these packages that people have to pay for. And so it really seems like a shift of power from anybody who is trying to innovate to a select 100 or so websites that people visit most frequently. And I know for me at least, while I do use things like Reddit and Twitter more than I do other websites, just the fact that I wouldn't be able to browse different areas of the internet or anything like that, and maybe it wouldn't be completely blocked, but it would at least be slowed down to the point where it's less incentivized to use. It really seems like antithetical to the whole foundation of the internet, which is the freedom of information to be, information to be freely consumed and enjoyed by all.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. And just to kind of look at the viewpoint of the other side, I understand that to run ISPs and to have an infrastructure that can support millions of people accessing the internet at the same time is pretty substantial. It's pretty expensive.
Right. That's the other argument.
And I get that. I understand that that's how these businesses run, and the service. In the end of the day, they're still providing a service that needs to be paid for. Where they have employees, they have shareholders, they have everything these corporations have, and I totally get that. But what I'm seeing and what I can see as the issue is, if the argument is that if they have no regulations, that these ISPs will have more money to create new jobs and to create new infrastructure that can support more and more devices and more access. That's great. But a lot of the times I feel like these people will take that money and will just put it back in the pockets of the shareholders. Which is definitely it's a concern, and I think that it's justified to think that way, that would be an issue. And it should also be noted that there are lots of grants, but there's money that's given by the government from the government to these businesses to create this infrastructure. I believe years ago, I can't remember the specifics, but years ago they were given millions and millions of dollars to create fiber optic cables that would go through the ground and, create the structure that we use today because, we have cloud-based systems now, we have everything. And a lot of that money didn't get invested back into exactly infrastructure. So what's the difference now? Like if they were given free money, not free money, it's taxes, tax money. But if they were given these large amounts of sums to innovate, and they innovated pretty well, why the need for change?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the kind of main goal behind any company is to increase the value of its stock and to make its shareholders happy. And typically, even any ethical stances that companies take, any extra charity work that a company does on the side. Ultimately, that goal is to improve the company's image, get more money, and give it back to the shareholders. And so I think it's naive to think that by removing net neutrality that it would in any way make the internet better. I can only really see negative a negative outcome from this legislation.
Yeah, but it should be noted also that it's still not over. There are plenty of...
Right, it's the first step.
Yeah, it's the first step. And we as a society saw the signs of it coming, but, we have, Congress, and they could vote against it, and the courts will say, we'll vote on, or rather discuss the legality of it all. So there is safety measures implemented. And it's great that people are getting so involved. I think that that's something that, as an electorate, that so many people are passionate about, that they are marching, sending news, or rather emails and phone calls to their representatives. And I think that engagement is great. And it's something that should be the case for everything, not just this one issue. I mean, it should be for tons of issues that we have. And I think that building block where we become a more involved society, that there will ultimately be a better outcome, or an outcome that is widely supported by people and not just one man with a big ass Reese's Cups mug ruining everything.
Mug is a talking point for sure. I think we could spend the rest of this podcast talking about how ridiculous that mug is.
Oh, it's the absolute worst.
Maybe we could shift the conversation to Mr. Pie himself, though, because I think that he's demonstrated some behavior over the last few weeks that shows that he doesn't really care, I guess, about the thoughts of the millions of Americans who are against the removal of net neutrality.
Mr. Moneybags? What? No.
That video that he posted.
Oh man,
that got downvoted into oblivion.
I'm speechless. Like, you hear me stuttering. I remember watching it for the first time and seeing the downvote amount, and it was 200 upvotes, and then it was negative, I don't know, 22,000 within the first 20 minutes of it being released.
Because I think the reason why it was so ridiculous is he's making the dissolution of the freedom and the equality of the internet into just some big joke, and he's, the whole point of the video is come on guys, it's not that serious, you'll be fine. But there's legitimate concerns that need to be addressed, and I don't think they've been adequately addressed by anybody who's a proponent of the removal of net neutrality.
He memeified something that was very serious.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's awful.
He even did the Harlem Shuffle 3 years too late.
I know.
Oh my god.
It's just whatever intern came up with that idea and recorded him, and I don't know, man. It's bad. And then I saw another headline that was saying that a Verizon executive was making a joke that they would put some Manchurian candidate in the FCC or whatever, and then Ajit Pai laughed at that. And he's like, "Oh yeah, wouldn't that be crazy?"
Oh my god!
It's like we're living in a bad sitcom.
Yeah, but it's just not funny, and there's serious repercussions. If this was a sitcom, I'd laugh, and I would enjoy it thoroughly. If this was Veep, I'd be okay with it because it's Veep and it's fake, but it's not at all.
But no, it's all very real, and it's very concerning.
And then not only that, but we have the even more glorious update of the Zodiac Killer tweeting about it.
Yeah, and so then all of these Republicans are just grandstanding on the idea of removing Obama-era regulations, and then Ted was calling people snowflakes for thinking that the removal of net neutrality is a big deal and stuff like that.
I'm telling you, that intern who wrote that is getting a big raise.
Yeah.
or a
It's like, oh,
promotion.
I'll use Snowflake. That'll get a lot of likes.
Yeah,
And it did. It really did.
Chapman.
It got like 20,000.
Yeah, no, it did. I guess all press is good press.
Yeah, and that's another issue in and of itself. I feel like there's so many people that are like having real concerns about the outcome of this legislation, and then it's just like with every other issue in this country, it got split into two sides, and you're either for or against, and there's not really any common ground to be found.
Yeah, that's
It's a pretty nihilistic viewpoint of our current political state, but I think it's pretty accurate.
I think so too. And I don't know. It's I like you said you did. You wrote your congressman. I did too, and I donated to what I believe was right. Um, that it's just crazy, just how everything happened. And I think what's even crazier is I was looking at a thread on Twitter that was calling out people for calling out the FCC for using dead people as comments for their page.
Really?
Yeah. It was like this whole thread that was mentioning people's parents who had died 10 years ago, 5 years ago, people who are even alive now, where it would be comments that were saying that they were proponents of removing net neutrality. And it's even gone so far as to where watchdog groups and organizations have been developing websites that allows you to search if your name has been used for this.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that they would have to.
But
go
it makes
to the extent.
sense. It makes sense with the internet. I mean, it's ironic that the internet's being used to kind of do this like information subterfuge, but it's also the issue that is at hand. I don't know. I think it would be insane for any of the events that have happened over the past year or two, if they were to happen back in like the 60s or the 70s. I think that they would be much bigger deals. And the only reason why I say that is because it seems like there's so many controversies and there's so many like radical changes in the way that our society functions and things that people are saying and all these scandals in Hollywood and everything. There's so much drama going on that we don't even have time to sit back and really discuss the ramifications of some of these things. I feel like every day there's a new news story, and then since that's the new news, then whatever happened the week prior kind of gets pushed to the wayside.
Yeah, I mean these news cycles are very very short. It's like every day you wake up to a new disaster.
Yeah, there's like apocalypse hell going in California right now with all the fires being spread throughout the countryside.
And then the biggest issue of them all, whether you enjoy porgs or not, because Star Wars.
I actually haven't heard that one.
The porgs? You don't know what the porgs are?
No, I don't.
Okay, so they're little like bird creatures that are on the Millennium Falcon in the new movie. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna go see it next week. I'm really excited. I'm a big Star Wars fan. But it's these little bird things.
They're
kind of cute, but they're not. I don't know. I want to see the movie first. I'm pretty stoked on it. Rian Johnson is a great filmmaker. He does great stuff. He created and directed. Well, didn't create, but he directed and helped write some of the best episodes of Breaking Bad. And
well, that's high praise.
Yeah, so
I mean, if he can do that, then I already did Looper. I like that movie.
Yeah, Looper's a great movie too. So that's a little bit of the lighter side of all this internet stuff. I gotta hand it to Disney and to Star Wars. Their co-branding is incredible. I have not been able to walk or like listen to the radio without some brand mentioning Star Wars in some way. Like,
yeah, no, they knocked it out of the park with the revival of the franchise.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm sure their budget is in the billions, but like,
yeah, obviously
everything. Their Vizio co-branding. There was Star Wars Night at the Bulls game. There was, I mean, you have like cars that are with Star Wars themes. excuse me, John Williams is, promoting his music everywhere. It's it's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like you wouldn't. I was telling somebody. I was like, oh, thank God for all these commercials. I wouldn't know Star Wars was coming out.
I think people attach to it so much just because we like the people that are in their early 20s now kind of grew up with the 1, 2, and 3 movies almost, and then we saw 4, 5, and 6 through our parents and all of that, and so now we're in an age where our age group spends a lot of money, is pretty impacted by advertising and social media marketing, and so the timing of everything kind of just came together. The new movies hit a lot of different generations at once because our parents want to see them, we want to see them, and then the kids that are 5 and 6 now want to see it too. So I have a question about the Porgs. Is the issue with them that they're kind of like the minions of the Star Wars franchise? I'm only looking at pictures of them, but that's what I can assume from looking at
that
them.
They're just like the worst creatures ever conceived.
So like they appeal to the kids.
I would say, I guess it is for the kids. I mean, they look like puffins, so
yeah, they do look pretty cute.
Yeah, I mean they're really cute looking.
I'm looking at more pictures and I see a bobblehead, like a Porg bobblehead. So they're already pushing those out.
They have these crazy wing things. I mean, they're just really short and I don't know. They're cute. I'm excited for the movie. It's apparently like 2 hours and 40 minutes,
which is crazy.
Which is crazy for a Star Wars film. Normally they stick around that 2 hour mark, 2 hour and 15 minutes. And I was reading
because
somewhere
it's mostly. I was just gonna say it's like mostly casual audiences that go to see a Star Wars movie, and that's a long time for a casual audience to sit and watch a movie.
Right, yeah, and Thursday night it made $45 million.
Damn.
And it's projected to make about over 200 this weekend. I know you and I talked about it.
We were hedging earlier. Our bets. I forget what I said. Did I say it was gonna be over 200?
I said 208. I'm guessing 208.
Okay.
I think that's about right.
Yeah. Let's see if I can pull up that. Alright. I'll find it later. But yeah, I think I was expecting it to go over 200, like 215 maybe.
Yeah. A lot of, I don't know, it has I was reading that on Rotten Tomatoes, like the audience score is at 55%.
Right.
Which is really surprises me because I think that people with Episode 7, their biggest issue with it was that it was too much like A New Hope.
And it was like way too much like A New Hope. It was
like it was basically the same movie. And that one has the same critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a 93%, but that one has an 88% audience score.
Huh.
So
I'm just assuming that with the runtime and maybe the reaction to people's reaction saying that it was too similar to the Force Awakens is too similar to the fourth movie, that maybe they just try to take it in a different direction and it's like more cinematic and slower paced and focuses more on character development and stuff like that. Because it's got a Rotten Tomato rating for the audience score.
I think you're probably right, and I think that it might maybe just had some twists that people just weren't happy about. Which again, I have not read anything. I don't plan on reading anything, and I hope that I'm surprised. But
I'm reading some just because I don't really care, I guess. So it seems like most people are saying that it was Social Wars. I see some comments saying that it was trying to push like SJW narrative or something. Some people are saying that the plot was convoluted, and I guess it went in a lot of different directions and it didn't have like one continuous story.
Yeah, I heard there's a lot of subplots, but when you have that many different characters, you got to address them all.
Right.
I don't know. maybe we're just being blinded by the true gem of this week that was released,
Which is
and that is Ferdinand the Bull.
is that a movie?
Yeah, it's a movie. John Cena
I'm
plays Ferdinand the
awful.
Bull.
Let's see. Oh, huh. Is this DreamWorks?
Yeah, it's a DreamWorks movie. Apparently it's very meh. Like
I
it's
just looked at
decent.
the cover, like the promo graphic for Ferdinand, and I saw the bull making the same stupid face that every DreamWorks animated character animal makes, where it's like that perplexed, like kind of goofy look. It's so common that it's almost like a trope that people know about.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No,
that
but I
does
mean,
look great.
it has John Cena in it, so you can't see the bull the entire movie. Interesting choice by the filmmakers.
Wait, why?
He's just invisible. They just play music.
But why?
Wow, that
Wait,
joke
so
went
the
right
movie's
over your
about
head,
the bull,
didn't
but you
it?
never see the bull?
Well, no, like obviously that's a joke because it's John Cena. You don't see him coming.
Oh, jeez. Okay, that went over my head. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I love explaining my jokes to people.
Yeah, they're always funnier after you explain them.
They're a lot funnier when you explain them. Exactly.
That's funny though. Yeah, who knows? Maybe that's will be a better movie than Star Wars.
It could very well be, depending on your life choices.
Hmm.
You could enjoy an animated bull more than you enjoy, a cultural phenomenon that has captured the hearts and minds of many generations.
One more comment about Star Wars, just from the reviews that I'm skimming on Rotten Tomatoes. They're saying that it was too many. There's like too many puns and too many attempts at jokes, and people are saying that they tried to turn it into a Marvel movie or to imitate that style of filmmaking, which is interesting. If it was like that, I'm surprised that critics reviewed it so highly.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. Marvel movies get such high ratings from critics.
I've never really understood that. I guess I'm just a hater, but I've never really found Marvel movies to be like that compelling. Like I've seen a handful, and I think they're good for what they are, but I wouldn't consider them to really be like great movies.
I think it depends on who's making them. I think that some of them have certain filmmakers that add their own charm to it that make it excellent. But I mean, you have to understand that style of filmmaking is, it's ultimately all done by the same people. They're all under Disney.
Yeah.
They all
Yeah, no, that's a
they're
good
all
point.
owned. Right? Here, if Disney is to go through with the purchase of 20th Century Fox that they have been talking about, it would mean that Disney would own 40% of all films that are made and 40% of all television that's made.
That's crazy.
That's an insane amount of content, all run by one company.
Yeah. I mean, even going back to our original discussion of net neutrality, that's the whole thing about how there's been kind of a monopolization of our entertainment industry and like the media that we watch. It's all kind of conglomerated into a handful of companies. Disney's one of them, Fox and others.
Yeah. No. It's kind of crazy. Well then. Any other last thoughts on net neutrality or any movies or anything? Anything funny happened to you this week?
Um, Honestly, not really. My life has been extremely boring for the past week.
What a sentiment, right? Like what a sentence. Just not really. My life's just been really just kind of gray, kind of boring.
It really has though, because I had my finals, studying for those, and wasn't doing much else. Finished the finals. Today is the first day that I'm done with my semester, And so last night I did deliveries for like 4 hours between, let's see, I think I did between like 10 and 2. And then today I woke up at 8, did deliveries until noon, slept, did deliveries from 5 until 8, and then I'm doing deliveries again from 10 until 2.
Oh
So,
wow, how much cash are you making with doing this?
pretty good, honestly. That's like one of the main reasons, well, one of several reasons why I quit my desk job. Because that job like paid 11 an hour, and then I usually get around like 15 or 16 doing favor.
Oh,
So
so you are doing, but then you have to factor in gas. So
yeah, but I have a Honda Civic, so gets pretty good gas mileage, and it's got a small tank too, so it's only $20 to fill it up, and then that lasts me like 250 miles or so.
oh, that is pretty good. Yeah, my Corolla has about 12 gallons in the tank.
Yeah.
It gives me about 350 miles at full every tank.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it
it's a
obviously
great
varies
car.
depending on city driving versus highway driving and all that. But I have like a spreadsheet that tracks all of my expenses, so I can see if it's actually worth it or not. And even with gas costs and everything, I still average around 15 an hour.
Wow, that's really great.
Yeah. And it's a lot more enjoyable than sitting at a desk for me, at least, because I get to drive around, see different parts of Austin, listen to podcasts, listen to new albums that have come out. So I'm a big advocate for it. I'll be putting a lot more hours in next semester.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's your final semester, right?
It is. It's gone by insanely fast. I don't know where the time went because my freshman year it kind of dragged because I wasn't very involved with much. I kind of just like played video games and did my classes and not much else. And then starting sophomore year, I started getting involved in more clubs and taking more classes, and I started working. And ever since sophomore year, it's just flown by.
Yep, it goes way too fast, doesn't it?
Yeah. I guess it's a little bit different for me because I'm most likely going to graduate school after I graduate, so it's just like the next step in the academic cycle. And
Yeah.
I won't have to face like a lot of the things that people do when they graduate and they go straight into the workforce. It's kind of delaying that by a couple years. And
Definitely understood.
yeah, see
Everybody's
how
got
it
a different
goes.
path at different things, and I think we all eventually get to where we want to be just through trial and error.
Right. And it's not that I don't want to work. I really do. I enjoy working way more than I enjoy studying. But the jobs available for a public health major as a bachelor's degree, it's like you make like $12 an hour, or like $20K a year doing data entry at a state health department. And it's like if I go to 2 more years of school, then I get to implement a little bit of creativity into my work because as an epidemiologist, you got to develop study designs and stuff like that, and then the pay is, around like 60 starting. So that's
Yeah,
a
it's really
little
good.
bit of a better position for me. And I think, I don't really care about the money, but I think I'll enjoy the work way more than doing data entry.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it sounds a lot more, more up your alley.
Right. Yeah, I'm a big advocate of work that has a creative aspect to it where it's not just if your job can be replaced by a robot, then it's not much of a job in my opinion. And I'm not like discrediting the millions of people have jobs that are eventually going to be replaced by robots, but I think that as humans it's almost essential for us to be able to create a little bit every day. And if you're doing a task that's just repeatable and doesn't require a whole lot of thinking, then I think a lot of people will be a lot happier once those jobs end up getting replaced. And, we figure out some kind of income system to support those people as they pursue their creative passions.
Well said. All right, that is, I think, all the time that we have this week of us killing something, us millennials.
We talked about how GPI is killing the internet. We talked about how millennials are killing the Star Wars franchise.
We killed two birds with one stone. We killed two porgs with one stone. That's my pun. That's my pun for the day.
All right, we got to end it there. Can't top that.
Well, we can't. We're done. But thanks
you
for
so
much
for
for
2
listening,
followers
everybody.
that tune in sometimes. I think I can't really tell if the play counts or just me playing it to check to see if the audio works or if people actually listen to this. But if you do, God bless your soul.
Thank you so much for listening to us rant. We always appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening, day, rest of your week, month, year, and everything else.
Peace.